Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, wherever you happen to be. Welcome to another edition of the Living World of Darkness, New York by Night. The scene is set with Frank Green traveling in his Jeep down outside of Manhattan, actually, past the bridges that lead to the other boroughs and down the thoroughfare as well. Around him, the city lights start to not necessarily diminish, but go ahead and stop their overbearing presence and dominance of the night. He travels far from the towering buildings of Manhattan Island proper, down towards the smaller suburbs of Brooklyn, in fact, past that even, crossing JFK Airport, I believe, as one particular plane goes ahead and makes a departure over his Jeep, continues on further and further until even the extreme street lamps go ahead and diminish in their brilliance. He continues this particular tirade far, far away from the Camarilla stronghold of Manhattan to Long Beach, in fact. Long Beach being a very, very more subtle neighborhood, much more down to earth, less obtrusive, more, well, rural, in fact. Some parts of it are. There's Long Beach over there, the actual beach. Towards his backside, there is Jamaica Bay, the wilderness that it sort of resembles, or at least represents, the nature reserve, as it were. He continues on with his Jeep towards Paragos's cave. Paragos's cave being a cave structure that was discovered by the late Paragos, in which he went ahead and started to, or did move a boulder to exit and enter. Frank Green himself, discovering a alternative way and making it at least secure as possible. He goes ahead and parks the Jeep a little bit ways away, and he just goes ahead and departs. Takes each step with a purpose, actually, because his children is back in town. He goes ahead and walks the beach. Takes every step, leaving a small trail behind him. He goes ahead and finds that cave entrance, finds the little trap door there as well, as he just goes ahead, taps on it, taps on it.
And as he approaches, there's the seagulls, rather than just lift from their perches, rather than simply lift and fly off like any casual observer would, they actually lift and they begin to circle in a almost pre-commanded way. It's obvious that Ellen is home, and as soon as there's a knock on the doorway, on the little trap door, the latch opens, but the door doesn't open.
Frank Green goes ahead and once he hears the latch go ahead and give, he just holds the handle for a single second and says, "You in there, honey?"
I'm home. Tiny, tiny voice.
Frank Green goes ahead and opens the trap door and proceeds to just make his way down.
As he comes down into the site proper, there's a few makeshift bookcases that have been made just with rocks and planks and whatever else has been washed up and found. It's almost like Ariel's cave of books. Bit of stuff has been moved. A lot of stuff has been reorganized. There's a little plastic chessboard sitting in the corner, and it certainly looks like Ellen has made it her own home, for better or for worse. And she's actually sitting quite demurely over in a corner, just on the bare rug, which is the bear that she first shot, and sort of cuddling a pillow to her chest, looking a bit scared.
Frank Green doesn't necessarily acknowledge her presence, at least first. Frank Green goes around and circles the cave, looks at the new addition, walks around presenting his back to Elena many times before. Actually, he goes ahead and picks at one of the books that seems to have its binding a little bit threaded and proceeds to, just by playing with it, almost rip it off a little bit more than he ought to. He recognizes that he has ripped it off, but he doesn't rip it all the way. There just doesn't seem to be any malice in it, just vague curiosity at having broken the binding. And continues on.
Might not be intending any malice, but that's how Ellen is seeing it. So she
I
sort of
know.
shrinks back into herself a bit more. I know that you know.
He goes ahead and afterwards continues on to the other side of the cave, looks at the new additions before finally coming and facing Elena, taking a roundabout route, but still walking directly to her. He stands. He stands just before the rug of bearskin before her.
She's just looking down, pretty much just eyeballing his feet. You angry at me?
I'm not angry.
What then?
Franklin goes ahead and will actually sit. He'll sit cross-legged in front of Elena, and he'll say, "I don't know what to feel right now."
She'll just bite the bottom of her lip and say, I don't know what to tell you right now. Instead, she'll just sort of unfurl and reach into a pocket of her jacket and hold out a what looks to be a large feline fang on a leather cord and just hold it out to Frank. It's for you.
Frank will go ahead and take it, look at it, start to admire it actually. He looks at it. Then his eyes sort of perk up. Or at least his eyebrow does. As he examines the little trophy, he says, "You didn't buy this, did you?"
Elena just sort of does a sigh and inhale, and then just her eyes flick to a pile of clothes, which are obviously her clothes, which are still bloodied and ripped up. And just look away. No, not really.
He looks towards the clothes and looks back to you and says, "Was it a good hunt?"
Not for me to judge. It was certainly a decent fight.
How long did it take?
Tracked it from dusk. Took me about most of the night. Didn't come back. I know that Rose was very scared for me. Found a riverbed. Shallows underneath that. Slept there for the day. Made my way back the next night. I was gonna spring it. Saw it. Didn't see me, didn't smell me. It didn't seem fair. So I stood up. Purposefully disturbed the gravel. Let it know. Made it a fair fight. This time.
Wow. Franklin will go ahead and actually take this small little talisman, shake his, really scratch the back of his head with it. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty damn sharp. I would have told you that was something stupid. What were you trying to prove?
To you, nothing. To me, everything.
Franklin will go ahead and take the small little talisman. Actually, go ahead and actually put it on. He'll look to Alania and says, I owe you one as well.
She looks up confused.
You never had to prove anything to me. But you know what? Fuck it. Words are stupid. He goes ahead and actually crawls over there and embraces her with his arms, saying, words are stupid. Words are very, very stupid. There's just absolutely nothing that I can say right now that doesn't convey what I'm trying to feel.
Elena's very rigid for a moment. She still thinks that she's in trouble for running off, but after Frank's arms are around her, she'll just soften quite visibly, quite like you feel all the muscles relaxing from her tenseness before, and just sort of wrap the arms around Frank's waist and just lean her head against his shoulders and go, yeah, what's stupid. And there they'll just sit for a while. Sire and child having a moment. How beautiful.
Franklin will go ahead and disentangle himself and say, all right, this is lovely dovey, and I love it, and you never should speak of this to anyone, ever.
And she'll just smile a cheeky grin. Of course not.
I'm trying to maintain some kind of reputation. They think I'm a hard ass.
I know. I read that early on. And she's still sort of sitting cross-legged and just looks up with those big dough-like glowing red eyes. Frankie, you alright?
I'm much better now, at least. I got two legs, I got two arms, I got two hands, and I've gotten a little bit better.
As long as you think so. It gives you a very knowing look. Something that perhaps you might want to read into later.
Yeah. He's trying to cover that up as quickly as possible. Just bury that instinct as deep as possible, because he doesn't want to look in there. Not yet.
Mm-hmm. She's getting a hint. I'm going to put that out there. And she'll get up and dust herself off. So, you come back to look for me or Goblin?
I'm gonna have to track down Goblin as well. It's just I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I've let the city move past me too quickly. I've spent too much time in the tower, in the ground. I need to go ahead and reconnect with the kindred of the city.
You know about that better than I do.
Yeah. And actually, I want to go ahead and bring you along with me. I'm gonna meet somebody, and
Hang on, what?
I'm going to meet somebody.
Who?
Um,
Not Silas again, he scares me.
Silas scares you.
Yes.
Okay, it's okay. For your edification, not Silas. It's actually that Limely bloke.
Limey. Oh, he's
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
Educated. Likes his literature.
Really?
I think so. I've never asked him. But a friend of books is a friend of mine. He's the one that got
Yeah.
you Old Man of the Sea. Don't you remember?
Mm, I did remember. Actually, I did remember reading that. I didn't realize that Limey gave it to you to give to me. Huh. I
I could have told you. You were spacing.
Yeah, I must have been out of sorts, but I did like the book. It was very desperate.
Hmm, some good lessons. Like, don't drink codfish liver oil. It's disgusting.
The only thing I remember is it was just a long, long wait for anything to get done.
Sometimes the best rewards are the things worked longest for, even if nobody knows that you have earned them.
I'll go ahead and take that one. But I got the whatchamacallit. I got the Jeep set up. Come.
Okay. Eleanor just follows. Puts her boots on at the door. Trapdoor.
Frank Green goes ahead and makes that climb up. Goes ahead and looks at the trap door. Keeps it
Eleanor comes
closed.
on up, padlocks it. The gulls that are circling, Eleanor will just sort of look up at them, eyeball them each, and then just sort of wave away with a little tiny click of her tongue, and they all settle back on the rocks.
You got them pretty damn well trained.
You told me.
I know. Cheaty.
Cheaty.
Frank Green will actually genuinely smile at that. And he won't stop, actually, all the way up to the Jeep. He's got that stupid grin on him the entire fucking time.
And Eleanor's got the smile of, Jesus Christ, stop grinning like an idiot. Either way, both of them have stupid faces on.
Frank Green goes back into the driver's side of the Jeep, goes ahead and starts it, and we'll proceed back in the reverse direction that he came. Back from Long Beach, where things are much more settled, things are much more contained, things are much more demure and modest, contained. Back along to the thoroughfare, where it gets so much more busy. Back along to the boroughs proper, where things are even more busy, where buildings start to spring up yet again. There are more lights. Everywhere there are just more dazzling lights that go ahead and reflect off Frank Green's mirrored sunglasses and off back onto the bridge, back into the beast that is known as Manhattan Island. The tall buildings just encompassing the entire skyline as Frank Green goes ahead and makes his way to the establishment of one Linley. And if I'm not incorrect, it should be someplace in Harlem, if I take it right.
Yeah, as they drive back through Harlem and they get close to the destination, Frank has a sat nav, or even if he's just driving past, will realise his destination is a club with sort of bright red lettering above it. Quite a classy display for Harlem that says Cole's Cellar. It's a cellar jazz club, and as they pull up and park, which I assume they do, they'll realise that, for Harlem, this place ain't bad. It almost seems kind of trendy, the kind of place where, you could come and buy a decent record somewhere around here, You're still in Harlem, but, it's one of the less rough ends. Do you both approach the club together?
I imagine that Frank Green goes ahead and quite confidently approaches the club, but I think that the lights and the music, very loud music, is going to be startling to one of us.
Evelyn is very much your shadow right now, Frank.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Right, well, out the front of the club, You see a bouncer, very tall, relatively formidable-looking man, stood wearing, all black. But the suit he's wearing is quite nice, if a little bit old school, you know. And also outside, there's a couple of, sort of, what look like to be just gig goers, people there for the music, a couple of drunk people having a cigarette outside. And you
Eleanor
make
will instinctively go for her ID, thinking that she's going to get checked.
the bloke just kind of looks at you. No, you're a girl walking. Your appearance 3. You don't turn away pretty girls from the door of a club.
She'll just look at Frank and then just, again, shrink in behind Frank.
Would you like to both make me a perception roll? Is that a perception?
Now, what do I have for that? I never really do have a good one for that.
Straight perception? Straight perception?
Oh yeah, straight alertness perception. Yeah.
Alertness perception, there we go, hang on.
These dice full sucks. Hey!
There we go. Ding, 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 ding.
Nicely done, nicely done. I wish I could give you something better for the 5 successes, but you'll both notice the same thing. There's a symbol that keeps cropping up on people's clothing. A couple of the guys in suits have it on like a button on their lapel, and a few guys dressed almost in like a European casual kind of style have like a patch. Oh, huh?
What's the symbol?
Oh, it's in a circle on a black background. It's a skull with a switchblade between its teeth.
Okay.
I know, and emblazoned on it is what is it? The ASE. It's like an anagram of something. But paying no mind other than the fact that you might know, oh, there's a couple of people in a gang who hang around here. Fair enough, it's Harlem. There shouldn't be anything stopping you from getting in.
Oh, no. None of which at all, but frankly, we'll go ahead and look towards the bouncer and say, I should be expected. I'm Mr. Green.
Mr. Green, Mr. Green. He sort of goes over his mind. Like, he doesn't seem like a particularly bright fellow, but he says, yeah. Mr. Rigby would like to see you. You should find him down in the bar.
Thank you. I assume the bell is just a few paces in. It should be pretty obvious. I say again to the bouncer.
Oh, what was that, mate?
I go ahead and say to the man at the door, it should be pretty obvious where I'm going, right?
Yeah. Straight down. Can't miss it.
Okay, fair enough. With that, Frank Green just goes ahead and walks past this man at the door, pushes open the door, and proceeds in. What kind of atmosphere are we working with?
Apart from the sound of muted jazz music, there is no atmosphere yet. You're in like a small hallway with a set of steps going down and a door behind the steps, but it says private.
Wow.
It's just steps going down.
Frank Green continues walking. We'll go ahead and actually quite confidently take the few steps before looking back and making sure that Elena is actually following him.
She is.
Cool.
She's following him. Probably quite quietly. Let me just make a stealth roll to see how quietly. Because she's going to be one of these kids that you need to have a bell on her so you know where she fucking is. Yeah, she's sneaking up behind you.
Yeah, it's you're going to be sort of Frank Green's shadow. Nobody's going to know you're there unless you want them to know you're there. In fact, how many successes did you get?
2 at high difficulty, 3 if you're going for 6.
Cool. Sorry, just future reference kind of thing. Yeah, as you go downstairs, it's a relatively dim atmosphere. Like, it's not flashing lights and that kind of thing. There's a red tinge in the dark room, and as you walk down, it's the front of the club is actually relatively small, but down here it's quite a wide space. There's a stage illuminated at one end, red velvet curtains, that kind of thing. There are small booths lining the sides of the room. In the middle, you've got circular tables with little candles on them, which sit behind a dance floor, which is directly in front of the stage. And then to your left as you walk in, all along the wall, there is a rather large and quite a, I don't know, lavish is probably the wrong word, but a quality-looking bar. You know, mahogany, a little bit of brass. You know, and the spirit cabinet looks quite well stocked, if you're into that sort of thing. And sitting at the very end of the bar, furthest away from you, is the lithe and relatively compact form of Limey, sat with a glass full of whiskey in front of him, just sort of staring into it thoughtfully.
Oh, well, that certainly does clear up the situation rather a lot, but Frank Green is just going to go ahead and take a second getting there. He's going to go ahead and take his good time. He's going to go ahead and absorb a lot of the atmosphere, make plenty of notes to himself, simply because this is a kindred that has his shit together. Even the entrance of this place was rather well controlled. Everything around here is dark, smoky, hidden away, intimate in some ways, claustrophobic in others, but overall it's a fantastic little atmosphere. The jazz music is also very nice.
Yeah, if you know anything about jazz music, it appears to be just a loop right now of some of Miles Davis's work, some of the stuff from the Kind of Blue album, that kind of thing. And it's nice. It's relatively laid back, you know, not too frantic. And I mean, it looks like a relatively popular place. Most of the tables are occupied, but and you notice a couple of stairwells leading off and a couple of doors marked private and that kind of thing. It looks like a relatively professional little outfit.
At this point, I would like to, if possible, Mr. Limey, do a perception empathy on you, and just to gauge your general demeanour, if that's fine.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, and I've no resistance because I'm not trying to hide. I don't think anyone can see me.
It's one success anyway, if you're going for sixes. So just thoughtful, I suppose.
Thoughtful. Possibly from the way he's holding his shoulders, he could be pensive, or if he was human, he might need the toilet. You're not quite sure. You got one success.
Fair enough. Continuing to shadow, even though Eleanor will look at the liquor cabinet and then look at Frank and then give him the "don't you fucking get drunk on me again" look.
Frank, if you were mortal, you'd want to get drunk.
Yeah, if I was mortal, I'd definitely want to get drunk, but Frank Green is going to be nice. He's going to go ahead and behave himself, at least for tonight. Yes, he's going to go ahead and make a sort of beeline towards the other end of the bar, but what he's going to do is he's going to stand just a few feet away from Limey. What he's going to do is he's just going to go ahead and tap the bar, just 2 rap taps to get somebody's attention.
How far away are you from Limey?
2 seats.
2 seats. Let's see if it's him or the barmaid who notices you first. Okay, that's his. 2 successes, and again. And again. Hate dice stream. No, the barmaid notices you first. He's looking into his drink.
All right.
As the barman should.
Yeah, exactly. She's on it. Like, she's quite a pretty girl wearing what you'd look. I don't know if Eleanor's into that thing. She's wearing like vintage dress, like a go-go dress, with her hair done up. It looks kind of classy. And she'll walk over and she'll say, "What can I get you, darling?" In a more attractive and feminine voice.
Frank Green, for his second, will just say, crystal water, but set up a tab, please.
Oh, of course. And what name is that tab under?
Set it under green.
Green. Okay. And does she notice Elena stood behind you? That is the question here. How many successes did you get? It was 5, wasn't it?
No. If we're going for difficulty 6, it was 3.
Oh, in that case, it's
It was a
worth.
particularly bad roll. She probably noticed.
But defender
Yeah.
wins.
Okay.
She does not notice you. Yeah, it's like you are a shadow. You are the ninja of the jazz club.
That's a title and a half. I'll wear that.
Should have come up with that title for Limey, really. But yeah, but she brings over the crystal water and sets it down on a napkin, which kind of spins over to you. Will that be all?
Like I said, open up a tab.
And at this point, let me see if Limey notices you again. Yeah, with that roll, yeah, we'll look up. He'll sort of look up from his drink quite slowly, and his head rotates 90 degrees. So he says, "Oh, blimey, I didn't see you there, Frank."
No problem. You seem to have been well into thought.
No, what can I say? It may look like there's a lot going on, but really, it's just flies buzzing around up there.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just a sardonic grin.
How are we doing these nights, man?
You know, surviving. As you can see, things have changed a little since I moved out of Queens.
Yeah, but I think they've changed for the better. I like this place. I really do.
Better than the last dive. But yeah, got my fingers in a few pies. Business is going well. Things seem a little quiet in our neck of the woods, but I suppose that happens from time to time.
Tends to come in waves. I find. But yeah, is any place that we can talk?
There is, as a matter of fact. I have one of the rooms cleared out. A sec. And he does not notice Elena.
She's so tiny.
I guess she's just. I mean, the way I'm picturing it, she's literally kind of stood, kind of behind Frank a little bit, so he's just not.
She is the spider monkey in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
That's adorable. Yeah, he says, "Yeah, I've got a room cleared. Follow me this way." Yeah, he picks up the whiskey, which, if there was ice in it, has melted, and he walks towards the stage. And then there's a little room off to the side of it. There's a door on the left-hand side of the stage, at the end of the bar, in fact. He holds the door open and says, "After you."
Frank Green goes ahead and grabs his own drink, starts to follow behind Limely, but just before he gets to the door, he goes ahead and stops, looks behind him, and pretty much just says mostly to the room more than anybody else, "Go ahead and check to see if there's anybody in there."
He holds his hands up, says, "Fine, fine." And he strolls into the room, puts a hand on his hip, looks around, and he shakes his head and waves his hand for you to come in.
Frank Green, taking the hint from the unseen presence behind him, simply goes ahead and walks in.
Following.
And so Elena's just appeared. Yeah.
Boo.
Oof. Jesus. I didn't know you were going to be here.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Elena. How are you?
Just shrugs. I'm good. Yeah, you Limey.
Oh, can't complain. Life's quiet. Quiet's good sometimes. But he beckons to come into the room, and as he gestures towards, there's like a three-piece suite in there around sort of a small coffee table. There's a large, relatively nice-looking couch, a little bit worn, and two armchairs. And he says, "You've been trekking it through the wilderness, haven't you? I suppose the first time you've been off at a comfortable couch in ages. Please sit down."
You're addressing Elena?
Yeah.
Yeah. Elena just sort of looks at you, those through over her shades, and just goes, "Who told you that?"
Rose.
Oh. How is she?
I haven't seen her since she got back. She only let me know that she was going away with you before you guys left.
Oh, how subtle. Okay.
Is that a problem?
No.
Good. Please take a seat. And he kind of sits down on the couch and spreads out a little bit. Puts his arms back over and fumbles in his pocket and pulls out a cigarette, which he lights.
Elena will actually circle the chair once, very much like a cat looking to perch itself, and then once having done the 360 of the little chair, will actually take a sit down.
Frank Green, for his part, after closing the door behind him, will go ahead and take one of the sofas for himself and just proceed to lay on it. Not even sitting, just laying on it. Just letting everything go. Relaxing completely and utterly. Oh, God. This is a fantastic couch.
Hey man, don't get too comfortable in there. People have been known to disappear down the back of it.
Reminds me of my old place, actually, that I had to dump a while ago. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Where was your place?
My old place was actually across from the Groove, a nightclub. I don't suppose you would have ever heard about it. It kind of went out of business just before you came into the city.
The Groove. Nah, can't say it rings a bell. Maybe heard a few people talking about it in passing, but what happened there? You just have to move out, or something more sinister afoot?
Something a bit more sinister. There were a few fires, actually. And eventually it just got to be just a unsafe place. You couldn't walk in there or walk near there simply because too many of the wrong types knew about it.
That's as good a reason as any to up and leave. If I say if there was a fire in here, I'd leave pretty quickly.
Yeah. Sucks because I actually had an investment in that particular entertainment company. But, sirrah, sirrah.
Hey, c'est la vie. But how are you, Frank? The last time I saw
Both
you...
of your Latin is horrible.
Pardon?
Elena's just said under her breath, both of your Latin is horrible.
C'est la vie is French.
And she'll smile to herself. That you heard.
Oh, do you want me to make a perception check for that?
No, that's fine. We'll go with that.
Mm-hmm. How have I been? I've been getting back into the swing of things. I've getting out of my tower a little bit, walking around the grounds, actually taking a few steps outside of the island to go ahead and check up on some things. Finally, I've got some working pair of legs. I might as well use them.
Well, exactly. It's good to see you up on your feet again. You had me a little bit worried for a time.
You can bounce back. And Frank Green says that with a little bit of hesitation at bounce back. But he tries to continue on the conversation, saying, so what has been going on in the city that you know about? Things have been pretty quiet, at least I hope they've been quiet. Nobody's ran to me coming up with some kind of emergency for me to deal with yet.
No. exactly what you're saying. It's been quiet. Uh, I mean, I can only speak for my own business. Mr. Peck, Mr. Grayson, and myself did attempt to set up an Elysium, but it fell through. Mr. Grayson was being covered up as a reading from Rick Grayson's work, and well, he didn't show, so the Elysium was cancelled. Since then, I've heard nothing from the rest of the Camarilla. It's all been rather quiet, very sad.
Yeah, unfortunate. Little bit of business with me happens to be from external organizations, clan business with rural people business. Just trying to settle some affairs. There was a brief border dispute, but I think we cleared that up pretty damn nicely.
Oh,
Clan
Lord.
Gangrel holds some territory that some other people claimed as well, but we were able to come to an amenable solution. Or at least we're not clawing each other to death yet.
Some other people. Interesting use of the words clawing to death. I do wonder who these other people are, Frank.
People of the park.
People of the park. Local vagrants, perhaps.
No, I mean Central Park.
Oh!
Eleanor will just look at Frank wide-eyed for a moment, but not say anything, and then look back away.
And, well, I've never met a werewolf personally. However, I hear they're not in the best of temperaments when it comes to our kind. How'd you get intact?
Yeah, they don't seem to be the most friendly of sorts, and there is plenty of reasons why even our clan is wary of them. Don't get me wrong, just don't do it. It's not worth the risk. It really isn't.
Yeah, I like a walk moonlit in Central Park as much as the next guy, but you're going to see me moseying on down there anytime soon. Werewolves are dangerous. Lots of claws, too many teeth, you dig?
I dig. I dig. Besides that, apparently we have some new blood in the city, or at least some new blood that was directed my way. We have oh, what was her name? A new Toreador, in fact, name of Amini. Apparently, she's some kind of circus performer.
The mention of a new Toreador and a female Toreador, Limey kind of quirks a brow. And he kind of smiles bemusedly. Another Toreador. Interesting. Circus performer, you say?
Yes, lion tamer, if you want to believe it.
Lion tamer. Interesting. And was she an amiable sort of girl?
My reputation precedes me, it seemed. She was, well, she was very shy around me, at least.
Well, I'd be very interested to meet her. Being Harpy and all, I've got to keep a track on who's in the city. And a Toreador might be good for the court. Get a little bit of social lubrication up in here. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I just hope that this new Toreador actually behaves herself. That would be awesome. Just one that doesn't cause me any trouble from my office. That'd be awesome. There is a distinct, harsh tone in his voice when he says those last few sentences.
Sounds like a story there.
Quickly, at the mention of Limey being a harpy and him mentioning his status, I should like to do another perception empathy read on you. See how you feel about it.
Go for it.
I think that's a bit better.
Yeah. In his current state?
Feel free to roll against it.
Just to see, what's the resistance roll?
Just versus mine, I believe.
Oh, I mean the stats for it. I always forget. It's charisma.
Charisma, subterfuge if you're trying to hide something. What is it? Subterfuge, manipulation. I can never remember.
In fact, actually, I'm not going to roll against it because it'll be more interesting if I tell you. It looks like when he mentions it, it sounds like he's almost. There was a pleasantly surprised tone in his voice. It sounds like it was a position he might not have been happy about in the first place, but he's warming to it. It kind of, you know, there's possibly an air of it. He likes the way it rolls off his tongue. You know, Limey, Harpy of New York.
Okay, thanks.
Information overload there. Apologies.
No,
Yeah.
go for it. Give me as much as you want to give me.
But yeah. Sorry, you were saying, Frank.
Like I said, new Toreador blood in the city. Hopefully, let's just say it quite plainly. Hopefully, she doesn't bog my office with complaints or grievances or any of the sort. Because I've had enough with Toreador nonsense forever.
Sounds like there's a story there, Frank. Care to divulge?
Where do I start? Remember when we had Miss Smith in the court as well?
Miss Smith. Name doesn't ring a bell. Was this before my time?
Miss Ambrosia Smith, if you don't know it.
I think I've heard the name, but I don't think I've met her.
Right. Grievances start when she started to become, or at least act like, the primogen of the rose in this city. And this was just after Marquez's quite public betrayal to the other sex. So she had quite a hill to climb.
And it didn't go so well for her?
No. For one reason or another, she insulted me to the prince and the prince's hand. That pissed me off to no end. I thought we were friends at that particular time, but to be backstabbed like that had to be corrected.
We know what these Toreador can be like, Frank. Pious as anything, but corrected. Interesting choice of words. What was the method of your correction?
Oh, we had a long conversation about respect.
And I expect with the sheriff of the city, that must have been a relatively heavy-handed conversation.
Yes, it was. But the grievances don't stop with my particular office. Apparently, in that one meeting, she was able to offend her entire clan as well.
Mr. Peck's in her clan, and he's certainly a man who doesn't like to be offended.
No. For one reason or another, and don't get me wrong, I don't suspect anybody as much as I suspect everybody. But for one reason or another, she didn't feel safe within her own court, or at least from her own clan, which doesn't speak well for our Primadon. So went ahead and offered her a little bit of asylum, a little bit of a safe house, and tried to at least handle some of the situation of the clan. But before we even got anywhere started in that particular conversation, she proceeded to frenzy on a member of her clan. Cut him up quite brutally as well. I've never seen a woman play with that butterfly knife as well as she did. Sliced poor Solomon up to pieces, to ribbons, actually.
Well, you know what they say, Frank. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. I always liked a man who could handle a knife myself. But hey, we're going off topic. So, what happened to her? Why is she not around anymore?
Story continues. After she was incapacitated, I went ahead and took her into custody for a little bit. Had another long conversation with her, and proceeded to dump her back with the rest of her clan. Peck, Mr. Peck, that you know and love, decided to take the Tributan seat for himself for a small amount of time. At which point he, again, offended the entire clan. I don't know how you do that, but the Toradar seem fantastic at that.
This is what happens when you get a bunch of artists, prima donnas, and beauty queens together. Throats get cut, insults get thrown. You know how it goes.
Yes, I know how it goes, but it seems Mr. Peck's actions were rather suspicious, since after that particular meeting, Miss Smith came to me and told me what transpired. Apparently, and this is probably an older European custom that I'm not familiar with, but Mr. Peck went ahead and shed his blood for the other two to drink, and they did so.
What? He gave the other two members of the clan his blood to drink, and they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendously stupid of them.
Well, for one reason or another, he decided to do it. I wouldn't do it personally because it just seems a very, very radical move. And it's one of the reasons that Mr. Peck had another little meeting with the sheriff's office, simply because it resembled something that Dr. Slockley at the time recognized as a practice from another sect, and Marquez, already being a traitor, colored it in a rather bad light. He simply wanted to make sure everything was still kosher within the Clan of the Rose.
As is a sheriff's one. But of the sect-wise, you're right, it is reminiscent of the Voldery, is it not?
At that point, Frank Green will go ahead and look at you rather coldly.
I'm sorry, Frank. I apologize for speaking so candidly.
No problems. No problems. Right. Keep that word to yourself if you know what's good for you.
Taking notes.
But you are indeed right, my good sir. It did resemble that vile blood practice.
All seemed incredibly gauche to me. Borderline incredibly distasteful. But that aside, it is a topic I did want to talk to you about tonight.
Well, the story will end rather ghostly as well. We had a little conversation with him in which he proceeded to frenzy, at which point we had to incapacitate him, at which point we simply had enough of him, sent him off to Mr. Silas, who was at that point the Seneschal, and that is why the Clan of the Rose has no more primogen. We can't deal with that shit anymore.
As you're dishing up this slightly sort of scandalous material regarding Mr. Peck, for those perceptive enough, they might notice Limey kind of give a half smile and kind of rub a hand over the stubble on his cheek.
Let's have a look.
Oh, cool, you're rolling.
Of course I am.
You got 4
You notice
successes.
at everything.
Good.
Shit, yes.
See, this is
take
why I
all
bring
the
her
notes.
along.
Huh?
This is why I bring her along. She takes all the notes.
Damn you do. Good idea. Well, yeah, with those successes, I mean, damn it, I'm going to roll a little bit of subterfuge to see if I can hide my the sort of greedy look in my eye, but I'm not sure I'll be able to.
Let's see how you
1,
go.
2, 3. Nah, you win. You win. Well played. Well played. There is greed in his eyes as the dirt is dished on Mr. Peck. Like that, like in sort of in that half smile and the glint in the eye, Limey could have done a backflip for everything you saw. If you had to put your finger on it, he's been waiting to hear something like dirt on the impeccably clean Mr. Peck for a while.
Nice. Ah, quietly sitting back, keeping listening.
So, I mean, Mr. Peck frenzying, being incapacitated. Interesting, interesting. He failed to mention any of that when he gave me the rundown of the history of the sea. Interesting.
Of course, his own personal history. You can't trust a man to tell his own history. That's why autobiographies are. I tend to skip over them.
Yeah, you and I both. You and I both. Man paints his history as he sees fit, I suppose. However, if you don't find me too rude for switching the conversation so dramatically, what would you think if I simply said the word revenge to you?
Revenge. Revenge. You see Frank Green go ahead and give a long, long look, and he simply says, "There are those of us who are so desperate for it, we go ahead and make ghosts and phantoms in our mind to go ahead and deal with the situation. And then there are some of us who realize that revenge isn't worth taking because it takes too much of our energy and effort."
A dish best served cold. Huh. Well, Frank, and I hope you don't mind me talking about this. Your experiences with the other side. Are you comfortable if I proceed?
Go ahead. I've had to dish this entire I've had to dish my entire experience to the entire court with the Archon present on his boat. I have no shame.
As I remember. Good speech.
Not
But
much has come of it, though.
no, no. Rather irksome, if you ask me. Which is why I wanted to talk to you about it. It's a batter in Staten Island, and they've been quiet for a while, but the way things are going, they're going to have a chance to attack us before we do anything back. We got you back. That was a stab at them. I was happy with that. And then after we tried to have Wadsworth Fort turned out and burned down, everything went quiet. No action came of it, which I found incredibly interesting. I'm now in a position where a few of the pieces I've been moving are about to slot into place. And I was going to see if you'd fancy, I don't know what kind of influence you hold, but the way I see it, we've got to take that fucking fort down. Really hit them where it hurts.
Huh. Interesting, interesting. Now, Limey, you say you got a few pieces moving. What are the missing pieces? What's your big plan? What's the play here?
Well, there must be a copper handling the operation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we control that copper, we have that little bit more influence as to deciding the fate of Wadsworth Fort. The information I have so far is that they know there's a gang hold up, and they believe it's a Latino people smuggling operation. That enough is the perfect grounds to call a raid. Now, when I've found this officer who's in charge of the case, and I assure you he will be found within the next week at least, myself and him are going to have a conversation, and the outcome of that conversation will be that, in one way or another, I have control over this particular individual. Now, follow me. We get the place raided. Latino gang gone. That's their defense down. We get it done during the day. Sabat won't know what hit them. You know, human retainers are out. You know, lights are on. No one's home. Now we either get that fort destroyed, as we should have the prerequisite influence to do, or we organise something else. And this could be done in daylight too, which is a good point of it. Myself, and I believe you've met her, my associate Ghost, have recently set up shop in Harlem. And with both of our efforts combined, we should have enough people at our disposal to have the place burned to the ground.
That's all well and good, and I'm listening to this entire plan of yours with rapt intention, as you can see. However, I'm thinking that the effort is good. Continue moving your pawns like that. However, I wouldn't expect too much from this whole operation. Yes, you can go ahead and burn the fort to the ground. Yes, you can go ahead and push them out of the fort, but you won't be able to push them out of Staten Island entirely. Go ahead and continue to move these pawns as you are wont to do, but remember, they've also got pawns moving on their side.
What I'm saying is that have never been as gifted with influence as our sect is.
You're missing something, Limey. It's the
Mhm.
first time Elena has actually spoken up. This copper that you know, is he aware of us?
My boy or the boy I'm trying to find?
So if you get him and some other people who aren't in the know to raid the place and they find something that maybe they shouldn't find, then that's not only going to end badly for them, but also for us. Be careful.
I understand that. See, the thing that gets me, and you're right, this was the inevitable snag in the plan. Masquerade breach, nobody wants that. But I was in Fort Wadsworth. Wherever the Sabat are, and they're together, I know that, I've heard it from the horse's mouth. I can see it, I can get there. I bet that place is so well hidden that they could sweep the entire fort clean of the gangsters living there, and they wouldn't come across them. But that's just a bet.
But is it a gamble worth taking, considering the stakes?
Make a valid point. Generally, I only make a bet when the odds are distinctly in my favour.
If you are truly thinking, honestly and truly, of destroying this national landmark, this historical landmark, in order to attempt to wipe clean those that took Frank, then it needs to be done quickly, cleanly, and leaving nothing standing, because that way there is no evidence left standing against us. Now this is an infant's view on the masquerade. Surely you would have thought of this.
I've already thought of it. I thought it relatively menial to bring up because we're all in the know. I'm just spitballing, but what I am saying, and he kind of bristles a little bit. He's kind of pissed off that he's getting questioned by the baby gangrel. He kind of sort of
That's
takes
fine.
his hat
She
off.
gets it.
So I had thought of that, and it does need to be quick, and it does need to be clean. And if we move the right pieces into the right places and play the long game, it will be quick and clean. Boom, the place gets
Elena just
at 12 p.m. At 3 p.m., a destruction crew moves in and tears the place down. How does that work? All in a day.
You can just see Eleanor's eyes looking at you intently through her sunnies. It's just that heavy gaze upon you. And she'll just sort of not even make any sort of a gesture that she's challenging. She's still quite the harmless little girl, just innocently asking questions in the background. Just as I'm sure that you have all the right legal permits that we won't get stopped halfway through. It happens. I'm sure you've seen road crews take 1 meter too many, and then there's the week-long court proceedings. And we don't want that kind of a delay, do we?
Exactly. We set it up beforehand, make sure all the right paperwork is in place. Destructions don't happen on the day. They happen weeks, months in advance. It's an old building, which isn't being used, a public eyesore, a refuge for undesirable types, drug addicts, gangs, people smugglers, if the rumours on the streets are meant to be true. Why would the city, with the appropriate nudge in the right direction, not want to drag down this monument of sin in the middle of Staten Island?
It is a national monument. Please don't forget that.
It is.
It's a national monument that is disused.
As is Stonehenge.
Hey. Stonehenge isn't disused. There's some pagan types who take that place very seriously. If the city took Fort Wadsworth seriously, then there wouldn't currently be a gang living in it.
If they didn't take it seriously, it wouldn't be protected under national law as a monument and icon. All I'm saying, Limey, is that I'm glad you are thinking through all the avenues before doing anything rash.
Hey, I don't even have the appropriate contacts to have the place torn down, but I know the people that do.
Who does?
Okay.
Who do you need to talk to right now?
You were there for the meeting, Mr. Silas and Mr. Oh, what's his name? That Ventru sod.
Jan.
Jan Peterson.
Jan Peter Zood is a old sap. Apparently an agent of the Camarilla. You cannot get him into a office for 3 seconds before he's thinking about Vienna or the Netherlands or even fucking Maine. His attention is too divided for New York. He says that New York should be the stronghold of the Camarilla and the New Lands, but he's already thinking about how far Boston has gone. Silas, definitely a good sword. Definitely here for the long haul.
Sure, I hope so.
That will be the easy sell. Jan will be the harder.
I saw them both do it. I saw them both pull out their phones in front of me and make the arrangements. For some reason, those arrangements didn't go through. This time, I'm hoping they won't be so bad. I mean, look, I understand, what you're saying. Like, it's. I don't know. The bricks and mortar of the plan are barely set. But all I'm saying is, if we're really going to take a pop at them, we need to start thinking about this stuff. I'm sick and tired of sitting dormant waiting for the next Sabat attack, you dig? Rose's house got burned down.
What?
Rose's house. Her library. Burned down.
Fergie actually stops for a second because I think this is the first time he's ever heard about this. No, wait, he has heard about it, but the idea just fled his mind, and he goes ahead and says, right, yes, our library, Osworth. Damn it. Fuck, that is right. Okay, what do you know about that particular incident? Anything?
All Rose said was 2 men turned up, burned the place down. She was lucky to get out alive. She left shortly afterwards.
Oh, that's a library. She probably did not appreciate that at all.
Exactly. Now, I mean, look, I know it seems like a plan that's doomed to fail, and I get that. And he looks pointedly at Eleanor when he says this, because he's starting to get the idea that she's far more switched on than she lets on, which is a smart.
Oh, she's just staring at her lap. She's staring at her lap, innocently, harmlessly. I might even make a manipulation roll on that, just straight manipulation. 1 success. Righto. Oh, I think that was a 9, actually. So I think 2.
And I'm going to roll a charisma empathy to check that out. Perception empathy, sorry.
Do it. The perception empathy wars begin.
And roll the dice. 2 successes.
So who would be the defender in that? Probably me.
Oh yeah, of course. 2 successes, you win.
Yeah. innocently looking at her lap. Nothing to see here.
Kind of like pulls his hat down and cranes at you a little bit.
As you get closer, she'll just sort of look up over her glasses, wide-eyed. You can just see those unearthly red glowing eyes that still look tiny, like a tiny bit like doe-eyed, but fucking glowing. It's just like, I don't. Just shrinks back.
He kind of
Right.
he turns his head towards Frank. Look, Frank, you're the sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to make a stab at the Sabbat, lay it on me, bruv. How would you go about doing it?
If I was to lay a stab on the Sabbat, the one thing we don't have at the moment is a coherent court system. We just don't. Every single kindred in the city is out for themselves at the moment, and we aren't talking to each other. We aren't pulling our resources or our contacts, or pretty much just anything. When is the last time you've been to an Elysium?
Like I said, tried to set one up, it fell through. I've been trying my best, Frank, I really have.
I know, you're one of the good ones.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I know the whole harpy thing. I mean, I've met harpies before, and they're generally, they can be pretty unpleasant people to be around. You know what I'm saying? They're catty, vitriolic, really in it for themselves. When I got the position, I wasn't best chuffed about it, but I've realised it's a bit of a blessing in disguise. Like, when we can get people together, that's and when I got the position, I kind of wanted to use that to make sure that everybody was in contact with each other, meeting up on a regular basis. Know what I mean? And it just hasn't happened.
I
Put
know.
a real downer on the whole thing.
I know. I understand. When we decided to siege up in Manhattan, we also sieged up in here. We had a siege mentality towards our fellow brothers and sisters in this struggle. We stopped talking to each other. We started to be out in it for ourselves. We forgot what it means to be kindred.
He kind of stares into his drink for a minute, and there's a tiny twitch of the arm where he wants to take a contemplative sip. Then he kind of sighs. I think you're right. I mean, Mr. Peck is loath to set up an Elysium. He seems like a straight-up Elysium that he just invites people to. He seems to think that the Sabbat will get wind of it and attack, so he wants to cover it up. Frankly, I'm starting to think that maybe if you and I tried to set one up, maybe people would start to listen.
It's something that you're always going to have to imagine at the back of your mind. There's no way you can cover every single angle. The only thing you can do is know the crises before they come up and try to have a plan to deal with them. There's no way you're going to have a foolproof Elysium. I discovered that when Dr. Softly had his first one, when Mr. Silas pulled that really, really dangerous move and got us all in very, very big trouble and danger with people in the park. At the end of the day, you're not going to secure an Elysium with walls. You're going to secure an Elysium with words and information. Pick a place that you can throw up really quickly and then break down just as quickly. Make that your meeting spot. Dispense it to the rest of the kindred that you are going to have it then and there, and then you're going to simply walk away from it. Who comes, comes, and deal business with there. Who doesn't, fuck them.
I like it. So how's about this thing? The gentleman who owns this place, a very good friend of mine, owns a string of clubs in Harlem. Cole Cellar, this is kind of his baby. I'd probably hold off holding an Elysium here. But I'm thinking about picking out a slightly more rundown venue, sprucing the place up a little, having a meeting. What do you say?
Definitely doable. Like I said, something to throw up really quickly and then break down just as quickly. Because that's the only way you're going to do it.
Easy enough.
Have a revolving Elysium. Don't have it all in one place. And don't be surprised if you get hit.
Well, I'm going to get a function room. Security. I'll get a few of the boys. Homeless on the street. Gang members in the club.
Just the one thing, okay? Think about the mistakes that the Rolling Stones did when they did their touring, okay? Think about that for a second. Make sure you get the right people on security. Don't have Hell's Angels. Seriously.
No. You saw a couple of my boys out the front. The whole levers and sawn-off shotguns ain't my style, man.
Mm-hmm.
I like people who can lurk, blend into the background a little more. You know. That's kind of the way I prefer to run it.
Exactly. Just know that even way back in the beginning of the year, we still had Sabat finding out where we were holding our Elysiums simply because we kept having them in the same place.
Ooh, that's always a bad move.
And we had all the protection there as well. We had guards, we had walls, we had floors, we had all the security that even my coterie could come up with when we were in our prime, and yet they still broke through. It's information that you have to hold secret, and you have to keep revolving the information, making sure that if they are keeping tabs, it has to be the most up-to-date. Make them work for it.
A sensible move. I'll try and put some of that sense into where I hold my Elysium. Anyway, and of course I'll let you both know. It'll be a pleasure to see you both there. And Frank, really, the whole revenge thing, I mean, I'm not trying to pose it as a personal thing. I mean, of course, you know, you've got your own beef with the Sabat, but it's a kind of matter of the common good, don't you think? If we can give them a kick, then just remind them whose city this really is. I'd be thrilled to be a part of something like that. And, well, you're a capable man. If you do have any ideas and you need some help carrying them out, then I'm your man.
It's true. It's true I do have a beef. And I should be paying more attention to it, but I got me and my own to think about.
Oh, no, that wasn't a criticism, Frank. I'm just saying, if you ever do have a desire to...
If I ever do get the desire, the opportunity, and the motive, and the backing, the door will be open, I assume.
Good. Of course. That's what I mean. I understand you gotta look out for you and your own. Playing Gangrel, you guys you guys scared me a little. With you out of action, Elena taken to the wilderness, I was a little bit afraid we wouldn't get you back. And well, it's always good to have a Gangrel around, you know?
Yes it is. And the more I think about it, the more I think that maybe clan lines aren't exactly how this city is going to operate. We don't even have a Toreador Primogen at the moment.
Blows your mind, doesn't it? This is New York, one of the biggest cities in the world, and Camarilla's hardly represented here.
Just goes to show you that we haven't learned the right lessons in order to survive in this world. But that's more philosophy than anything else. Any more business, any more news you wish to pass along?
Just quickly, under her breath at that, Eleanor says, or maybe we don't have the right leader to guide us. If anyone wants to make a perception check on that.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, they're scrambling for it. I love it.
No! Fail.
One success. Frank Green will pick up on the last few pieces of information and actually look very, very much sideways at Elena, who
Who
probably
will
doesn't
look
notice
like
because she's, got her eyes pinned to the ground a moment.
Yep, true. Not gonna notice.
But we did hit it, right?
I was just under her breath. If you failed your roll, you didn't hear jack shit. You just heard him mumbling to herself.
Cool.
The elders of the
And
city, what do you think about them?
Me. This guy?
Yes, yes, Frank Green is talking straight to you.
Oh, cool. What do I think about him? I think we don't have enough. I think that most of the elders mean well. I don't deny their allegiance to the sect. If you want my honest opinion, I don't think they're active enough.
Yes, they seem to be quite loyal to the sect, but perhaps not loyal enough to the city. Perhaps they don't understand what it takes to actually run a city like this. Perhaps they need to be taught and told.
Well, I mean, I remember when I first came here, I sat down with you in Queens, and you told me that Manhattan was off limits because that's where the elders lived. And now look where we are. It's a cushy venue, but can only mean one thing, you know what I mean?
But they've all decided to turn tail and abandon us.
Makes you sick, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Why in the world do we have to wait for the powers to be to just rock back into the city? Declare everything's alright and things are going to be the way they are till forever, and then just leave us again. Not give us the kind of support that we need. No, 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 no. If they want the city, they'll stay in the city. If they leave the city, well, guess what? You're leaving it to us.
And that's why.
perception number 3 on Frank.
Yeah, go ahead and do so.
1. 1. Because 1's cancelled.
Frank Green is talking about a very, very specific elder that Elena has met before.
Gotcha.
Oh, if it was a pointed thing, could I roll perception empathy on that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
That is one success.
One success. You get the bare bones of the motive and emotion behind his words. He is genuinely pissed off at the elders, much for the same reason that you can be. However, it seems that for some strange reason he puts more emphasis on abandon.
One, he kind of raises an eyebrow. Just wonder what he means by that. So, what do you think, as the sheriff, would be our most prominent course of action? I mean, of course, set an Elysium up, try and get people talking. I dig it.
Go ahead and stop calling it Elysium, because that's not what it is. If it's anything, it's just a gathering. Call it a gathering. Make it very, very simple. Don't call it Elysium, because that brings out all these other connotations about the proper way to do things, how it's supposed to be in a tower. Call it a fucking gathering, okay? Just have a gathering of kindred. Get them together, do business, and walk away. That's the first step. Stop calling yourselves fucking neonates. Call yourselves just kindred. Because at the end of the day, if there is absolutely no activity coming from the elders, why bother with the distinction?
Careful, Frank. You're starting to sound like an animal. He said jokingly.
Mm-hmm. What can I say? I've never had a true AR give me any kind of trouble.
Yeah, revive, as a matter of fact. But anyway.
What's an anarch?
Yeah. What is an anarch? Anarch. Frank, do you want to take this one, or shall I?
I'll give you a short little summary. They're outlaws. They don't follow our sect and our traditions as stringently as we do.
It sounds
But
very.
yet you don't hate him as much as the spot.
The Sabbat will fucking eat you.
Oh.
But anarchs, they won't. They're a contentious little bunch, especially when you meet them towards the liberation or the sieging of a city. But afterwards, they're sort of their own little thing, their own little subsect. In fact, there are certain conventions that were drawn up a long, long time ago that protect anarchs in a way, shape, or form.
But they still look after our secrets, don't they?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, the masquerade, generally they uphold it.
Let me go get and give your experiences with them. Give you a little summary.
Well, what do you think?
Eleanor looks expectantly at Limey like a kid who's about to get read a very interesting lesson.
First time I met an anarch, I was in Brixton, London. And I sat down and I said, "Hey man, you uphold the traditions. You don't want to reveal the vampiric condition to the masses. You just seem to want to keep yourselves to yourselves and be your own masters. I mean, that's what everyone wants, right?" He
But
said,
if they
"Yeah."
uphold the traditions, aren't they part of the Camarilla then? Because the traditions are a Camarilla thing.
And this is what I mean. I said to him, "What's the difference between you and the Camarilla then? You seem to stand for all the same things." And he said, "Limey, there's only one thing that separates us from the Camarilla. None of us want to lick boots for the next 200 years."
I see.
Basically, they're just a relatively ragtag group of idealists who don't want to be part of, as they would say it, the games of the elders. The Sabbat give all this stuff about freedom from the elders, etc., when really there's still some older guy pulling the strings behind them all. The Camarilla, forget about it. There's always someone 500 or 600 years older than you pulling the strings. With the Anarchs, that's not the way it goes. They form into baronies, little sects of their own, and they can live in Camarilla territory. Because really, nobody wants a war, not these days. Except the Sabbat, of course. But fighting Anarchs has never worked out well for the Camarilla in the past, generally.
Well, considering the borderline allies and respecting the traditions, or at least acknowledging them far further than what the Sabbat ever did, that'd be foolish too. Both sides would be. Either way, almost either way. Very almost either way.
Very romantic image, but most Anarchs are just as flawed as the next kindred.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Sounds exactly like that.
Exactly.
And Eleanor shrinks back into herself and shuts up again. Continues listening.
It's definitely something to think about.
So, set up a gathering. Seems to be what we can do for now.
I'll try to make efforts as well. Try to reach as many people as I possibly can. I can't guarantee anything simply because some of my information may have gone rather cold, but I've had success in the past. In the
Hey,
smaller cities, of course. Never had to run a big city like New York before, but maybe I should try my hand at it.
Frank, you seem like one of the more reasonable people I've met since I got here. You're a good bloke. What can I say? It seems like you want to fight for the right thing.
That's true, but sometimes my attention is just divided between different issues, let's just say.
That's understandable. You've got your own people to worry about. But hey, if I set this gathering up, I'll send word to the appropriate people. And listen, you're respected in the city. You've been here for longer than I have. If you could put the word about, try and get as many people interested as possible. Let's try and breathe a bit of life back into this dead bitch. You know what I mean?
Breathe a little bit life into this dead city, definitely. Night grows actually long for me. Sorry, but thank you for your hospitality. I really do, but I gotta get going.
Understandable. I'll see you soon, no doubt. Take it easy, Frank. And he gets up and he walks over to the door. It looks like he's going to walk you out.
Franklin will just go ahead and follow, saying, yeah, you're a good bloke too, Limely. Hope to see more of you in the future.
Yeah, you too. And Elena, always a pleasure.
He just sort of smiles very adorably, I believe the term is, and when Frank offers to drive it back to the cave in the jeep, she'll just go, "No, I'll walk. I haven't been in the city for a while.
Would you guys,
Thanks, though."
have you guys got the time for me to run a little something just outside the club?
Yeah, sure.
Just a little, okay. As Limey walks out of the club, and as you get towards the stairs, make a perception check.
Google?
Right perception, I take.
Yeah, perception alertness.
Gotcha. Wow. Make that one.
Uh-huh.
So let's check my alertness.
Yeah.
No, fails. All the ones.
I got 3.
Cool. Frank, you can hear a commotion upstairs. There's it sounds like people are shouting, and there's a couple of, is that muted blows you can hear? And Limey's ears seem to prick up as well as he goes to walk outside. And he looks back at Frank like, did you hear that?
Let's do this. Elena, go ahead and do your walk. Me and Limely are going to go ahead and try to take this.
Just give me a sec, Frank. There's a buzz of commotion. A few guys run past you up the stairs, and if you catch sight of them, they've got the patch on their arm. Limey walks back to the bar, and he comes back with a kosh, I don't know if you know what a kosh is, like a bit of wood with some lead poured in the end to give it weight. And he sort of holds it sort of loosely in his hand, and he looks at Frank and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, did you want one?"
Actually, do you have this well in hand?
Pardon?
Do you have this well in hand?
I can deal with this.
Go ahead and deal with it. I have no idea what your business is, but I help you well enough with it.
You and Elena are just gonna head off?
Like I said, out of character, apparently I'm being pushed out.
Oh, cool.
I'm sorry, man. I really am.
No, that's cool. Okay, right. Limey walks up the stairs, and as you walk outside, you see a couple of cars that have pulled up kind of onto the curb, and there is what appears to be a small gang brawl going on outside. A couple of guys wearing red are having a fight with the doorman and a couple of the boys he saw on the way in. And as Limey gets upstairs, he kind of straightens his jacket. Yeah,
Sneaking out.
they're preoccupied. They don't see you. And as he walks upstairs, he kind of brandishes the coach and goes, "Right, let's be having you." And probably the last thing you see of him as he walks in, he kind of raises the cosh above his head and brings it down, and you hear like muffled shouts. And as you walk
Actually,
through,
actually, you know what? As these people seem to be rushing in, Frank Green is going to go ahead and take advantage of that very narrow corridor. Actually, he's going to act as a buffer towards these blokes. These apparent white painted figures to just go ahead and stand right then and there before him and sort of muscle them out. Proceed to take as many blows as possible as he just goes ahead and throws them back, saying, "No, not here."
is
Hey,
that you?
Frank isn't coming out, then I'm going back in. If we all of a sudden miraculously have time for this.
Have you made some time for this, mate, or are you?
Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and run this. Just
I'm
give me a second to go ahead and relocate then.
okay. Just let us know when you're ready.
Righto. Sneaks out, rather than sneaking out and leaving, notices Frank not coming out, goes back in. First thing she tries to do is trip the lights.
Trip the lights.
Trip the lights. Cut
Good
power to the
girl.
freaking club.
That's okay. Yeah. You can find a light switch. It's on the wall.
Activating Protean 1.
And I mean, there's still a little bit of light filtering in from outside, but it's a relatively dim neck of the woods. And at the top of the stairs in the foyer, where you've snuck back in, yeah, it's pretty dark. There's some light filtering.
Most of the light that's filtering in would be silhouetting the people, I imagine. So regardless of being able to see silhouettes, you wouldn't be able to pick people specifically, I'm imagining.
Oh, there is a message in chat.
Oh, got it.
Cool. Right. Okay, Frank. As you are you stood in at the front door, or are you next to the stairs?
I'm actually more next to the stairs. I'm pretty much just holding this place as my "you're not gonna come past." And as soon as the light goes off, Frank Green is gonna go ahead and take off his mirror shades and just activate his own Protean 1.
Okay, cool. Right, as the lights go off, as is customary in a chaotic situation, when the lights turn out, voices get higher. You can hear more frantic blows being dealt, and you guys can both see. Limey is stood at the front door. It looks like he's shoulder to shoulder with a relatively big man, wearing sort of casual gear, and they're having a tussle with a few of the blokes out front. But there are a few people trying to get down the stairs. There's two guys coming at you.
And I imagine there would be a lot of people going up the stairs trying to get out towards the light.
Mm-hmm.
General chaotic situation.
Yeah, there's people running upstairs. So there's people behind you, Frank.
If they want to leave, I'll go ahead and let them leave. No chance of just keeping them in will they just do more harm. I'm going to let the crowd rush out behind me. I'm going to go ahead and pay particular attention to those gangbangers. And if they come even fucking close, I'm going to go ahead and try to trip them up. Sweep the leg, and actually see if I can't throw them down the stairs to do as much bashing damage as possible.
Okay, cool. In that case, you're trying to trip one of them as he's rushing at you. I'm going to use his next athletics. I'm going to give him a base pool of 4, because he's a little bit live, this one. If you'd like to roll your dex brawl, that would make sense.
Alright. Dex roll. Yeah, actually a 7. Damn.
Huh?
I'm good at this.
Oh yeah. Elena, as you turn to check on Frank, as I'm sure you do, you see him call his cucumber, step to one side, and stick his leg out. At which point, A man goes tumbling down a relatively steep and narrow corridor flight of stairs. And on damage dice, he's going to hit every step on the way down. So we're going to use 8 dice of bashing damage. Because he is a long way down.
Is it a
Do you know-
different insignia on the gangbangers than the skull and the switchblade? And if so, what is
yeah.
it?
On this one, it's the head of a dog, a Rottweiler, if you know that kind of thing, with its fangs bared, and a baseball bat, 2 baseball bats crossed behind it.
Question: do they actually bring baseball bats?
Huh? The 2 guys in the doorway seem to be just going at you with. In fact, actually, no. The one you tripped didn't have a baseball bat. The guy behind him, however, does. Yeah. But I'm not going to roll for this guy's resistance because I've rolled 3 10s. He lies in a crumpled heap at the bottom of the stairs. And as the other gentleman goes towards you with the baseball bat raised, we will switch over to Elena. Because you were being sneaky, nobody's actually seen you.
Hooray!
If like there are the people who you would, I suppose, assume to be raiding the place, there are about 3 of them who have gotten past the doors. One of them is heading towards Frank, and there is one who's just moving past you.
And they're wearing the colours of the Rottweiler and the baseball bats?
Yes, they are.
They are? Okay. Gonna go for a trip maneuver. Same diff, really. Actually, probably not even going to worry about that. Probably just throw something within the vicinity, beer bottle or whatever, at the back of the head.
As
Just
you
to try and
reach
get
your
attention
hand,
back here.
as you reach your hand down beside you, kind of fumbling for something, you feel your hand close around a cold, empty glass bottle. And as one man tries to swipe Frank Green with a baseball bat, 2 men coming behind him, coming behind their friend, apparently intent to run down the stairs.
They're going for my vampire daddy. That's it. It's murder time.
Okay, which one are you targeting?
Person swinging.
Okay, and you're throwing a bottle at him, right?
Throwing bottle for starters.
Well, he can't see it. He's taking a swing at Frank Green, so it is open season with this bottle.
It is open season. That would be a... What do you want for throwing? Dex Athletic?
Yeah, Dex Athletics usually, I believe.
Alright, here's a sec. Let me roll that. Ding, ding. Diff 6. That's 2.
Okay. 2 successes. You hit. Damage dice. What will that be? 1 for the bottle. Strength. And...
Yeah, so strength.
Huh?
Strength plus 1. Strength plus 1? Or do you want
Strength
the
plus
successes
1.
to carry over?
Plus what? Yeah. Your successes carry over because he didn't defend.
So plus strength plus 1, that would be 3.
Okay. Frank, as the man goes to swing a baseball bat at you, you see a bottle fly out in the shadows and smash off the back of his head, and he turns on the spot to look where the bottle came from.
Can I pop a celerity action to go ahead and grab the bat from behind him and just sort of choke him out with it?
Yeah, totally. Go for it, man. That is a Dex Brawl, resisting his Dex Brawl, and he has... Okay. He completely fails. You now have him in a chokehold with the baseball bat. If you'd like to roll some damage for the attack...
I don't really want to roll for damage from the attack. I just want to keep and hold him as I'm looking towards his buddy. And I imagine he can only hear me. He might be able to see some pinpricks of light, but you know what? Who's going to believe his asshole? As I'm just going to go ahead and scream at him, "Run! Run while you still can!"
and this is the guy coming towards you, yeah? These are the two guys.
Exactly.
Okay, if you'd like to roll an intimidation.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd love to roll
Intimidation,
intimidation.
charisma, if I believe.
Yeah, does my specialty in glowing eyes apply?
+1.
It certainly does. You guys are as 9. What am I rolling to resist that? Is that willpower?
Do you have courage or willpower? Because those are usually in the range of 3 to 5 for most people.
Well, he's a gangbanger, so I'm going to give him 4 courage. So let's make the check.
Gotcha.
And a roll for his friend as well, because he heard that too.
2 tens.
Oh
1,
god.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Nice.
6.
They both.
High five.
Oh, pardon?
Oh, we're just
Giving each other
high-fiving.
high-fivings.
Nice. They shit themselves. Yeah, the 2 guys look at you, just take one look, and then turn around, and think they'll take their chances in the street. As those 2 run away, and you're left holding the one dangling by his throat,
Mhm.
The violence has moved outside, where they seem to be like it's backing off a little bit, but you can still hear blows being thrown and people shouting. Anything you'd like to do with this guy you've got by the throat before you head off?
Oh, no. I'm just gonna go ahead and choke this guy out and leave him in the ground, but make sure I didn't kill the bastard. And then I'll walk out.
Well, would you like to make a dex brawl? Because he's going to try and get out.
Oh, yes, of course. Next roll. Ooh, he might get out.
He has gotten out.
He does get out.
God damn it.
He kind of rips the baseball bat out of your hands and turns around and takes a massive swing at you.
Oh, go ahead.
Right, that will be a pool of 6.
Can I spend a celerity action to dodge?
I'm thinking because you already spent a celerity action to. Oh, that was the last turn. Yeah.
Mhm.
You can use a celerity action to dodge. Oh, sorry, what am I doing? He's got 2 successes to hit you.
Unfortunately, he's still hitting me. Damn.
Right. Okay. This is his +1 for the bat. What do you care? It's bashing. +1 for the bat, and then 3 strength, and then 2 6 carry over. He's done 1 point of damage. As it cracks you around the temple.
Go ahead.
As it cracks you around the temple, much to his dismay, it merely serves to make the man with the glowing eyes more pissed off. As you give a guttural growl, and he kind of sort of like looks at you as if to be like, "Fucking hell, he should have gone down." And Margot, I believe it is your turn.
They're hitting on Frank. I don't like this. I'm going to do the Chihuahua maneuver and go and bite him in the leg.
You're gonna bite him in the leg.
Correct.
Oh shit! Isn't that ag?
It depends on the type of attack. Or does Eleni even know to do that?
I don't know. Shall we fate dice to see whether it's just instinctive? Because she doesn't know anything.
Go
She is
ahead.
like Jon Snow. She knows nothing. Alright, let's roll some fate dice. Actually, you know what? I'll let the person who's running the scene decide. I'm just going to roll straight dex because I have no brawl. And see if I can... I bite. It's
Okay,
just to the calf muscles, just to the back of the calf muscles.
And
Bite.
is this? Do the fangs have to be out for it to ag, or is the bite enough?
Fangs are out, by the way.
Mhm.
Fangs are out. Oh, in that case,
Fangs are out.
I'm going to give him a modified roll because he didn't see it coming to try and move his leg, but I don't think it's going to work. Nope, it doesn't. You sink your teeth into his calf, and he lets out an ear-splitting screech. And because it's Ag, I mean, there's not even really any point me rolling his defense because he doesn't have any. Frank, after the man hits you and he stares at you dumbly for a second, he falls to the ground just shrieking, like it's like in horrible pain as he hits the deck and kind of wraps his hands around his leg. And down on the floor as he drops, you see the lovely young Elena with her teeth wrapped around his leg in the so-called Chihuahua move.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, he's gonna probably lose that calf muscle, but try to do some damage control as Frankery just goes ahead and jumps over the fallen individual because there's no way in fucking hell he's getting out. None after a bite like that. He just goes ahead and grabs Elena by the shoulders and says, "That's enough. Let's get out of here."
But, okay! And she's just wiping her face, realizing that she fucked up. Whoopsie! They were hurting you! Just getting dragged out. I had to do something!
Frankery will go ahead and actually take off his jacket and throw it over Elena and just say, "Clean your ass up."
Cleaning up. At least we were in the dark, nobody could have seen they don't install thermal cameras.
There are no cameras in this place.
Okay.
Get a document up. Sorry. Apologies. Give me 2 secs. Okay, good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. As you walk outside, the fight, whereas it was on the curb next to the club, it's kind of back down into the road, and now there's about 6 men on either side with bodies littering the floor of people who have been knocked out and etc. And you see Limey with his kosh in hand take a swipe at one of the gangsters, who, let me see, takes the blow full onto the head. And let me just roll the damage dice. Yeah, the man hits the deck, sort of clutching his face as he kind of looks up and goes to move. Whereas they seemed like quite a strong offensive before, they seem to be backing off, and a couple of the guys run off the back of the group. What are you doing?
Frank Green will just go ahead and yell out to Limey, not using his name, just sort of say, "Watch out for copters in blue! We're gone!" And then he's going to try to rush away.
He turns around and you see some bruises around his eyes from where he's been struck. And he kind of nods and gives you a... and he's still got his hat on somehow. And he kind of like wipes his face and goes, "I'll see you soon. Thanks for the night."
All right. Frank Green, for his part, is going to make sure that Elena is still tagging behind, make sure that she at least looks clean, and is just going to go ahead and exit the scene like that. And I'm very glad I stayed.
Getting dragged by the scruff of the neck to get a lecture later on, I take it.
Mm-hmm. Don't
As you beat your retreat, from behind you hear a voice shouting, and if you turn around and look over your shoulder, you'll see the men with the in the red with the patches running into a car and driving off. And before they leave, you hear one of them shout over to Limey. What was it? Is it, "You'll get yours, Limey, you'll get yours. No one messes with the mad dog."
Nice, I like it.
Nice.
And yeah.
All right, need an outro?
Huh?
Need an outro?
Go for it.
All right. We go ahead and end this scene. We actually go ahead and take a aerial view of the situation. Langley before his club in the middle of the street, the bodies just littered around him, unconscious, some of them beaten to a pulp, it seems like. We see the club in various states of disarray all around him. The club goers have already bailed and are running, and a few blocks away, you see two gangrel, one of Frank Green, with his hand tightly clasped around his own shoulder as he runs away back to the jeep for their own safety, to save his own skin at least. But when he finally reaches the jeep, he just looks at Elena and says, "You still want to explore the city a little bit?"
If I haven't fucked up too badly, yeah.
Don't bite like that. It leaves too much of a mess. But see you at the cave.
See ya.
All right. Follow 3:30. 3:30. If I don't see you, then you're getting a whooping.
Okay. Promise.
Pats her on the head, kisses her cheek and her forehead, and then proceeds to climb in the jeep and drive off for the rest of the night. And there we will end our scene. Thank you very much, sir, for having this little impromptu session with us.
My
Thank you.
pleasure.